Hello, everyone. Happy to be with you all today. Give me one second while I get the presentation up and running here. Can we all see our screen? How about a thumbs up? Looks good. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Welcome again to New York State Parking and Transportation's virtual fall conference. Happy to be with you all. While I missed our time in October, I'm happy that we are kind of pivoting to this experience and sharing this time with one another. Good educational content so far. Happy to see most of your faces, connect with you one way or the other. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Matthew Reitmeyer. I am the Assistant Director of Parking Services with University of Buffalo. I've been with the university about 15 years now, served in a few different capacities, now mostly focusing on parking and technology for our department. I also have the pleasure of serving as the treasurer for NYSPTA, and I've been connected with the association since the beginning of my career, but with the board of directors now since about 2017. I'd also like to pass the torch to my colleagues that I've come to know very well over the past year plus, James and Sean. James, you want to take it next?
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy. My name is James Emery. I am the Senior Vice President of Operations and Revenue at Modii. I've been in the parking industry for a little over 15 years in both the public and private sector. It was an accidental career choice, which I'm sure is probably pretty common with everybody else here. I started as a part-time coin collector when I first moved to Connecticut, just looking for a simple job to pay the bills while I got my feet underneath me. And I always say I dipped my toe in the parking pond, and the monster reached out, grabbed me, pulled me in, and I've been in parking ever since. So here I am. Go ahead, Sean.
How's it going, y'all? I'm Sean Hyder. I'm sure I've met a few of you before at previous New York conferences. Yeah, may have been wearing a different shirt a little while back with Cardinal, but yeah. So I am the Vice President of Business Development here at Modii, and wanted to start us off with a little poll just to see where the audience is at and see how easy this is going to be for James. So if you start, if you look at you should have a poll that popped up on your screen here. And you should see the first question is Yankees or Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to sway the entire presentation, let's be honest.
We got to know.
I'm kind of bummed I can't vote to help skew these numbers in my direction here.
We're in New York, folks.
While I also cannot vote, I want you to know that I'm wearing a Yankees polo shirt today, and I wore it on purpose because I knew that question was coming up. So there's my vote, James. We're still friends.
I knew this was going to be a problem. That image that you have in the back right there on my windowsill is the image of Jason Varitek jacking up A-Rod in 2004. It's the greatest moment of my life.
All right, it's overwhelmingly Yankees, 81%.
Well, it was nice to meet everybody, but I'm out of here.
But we do have North Carolina in the house and New Jersey in the house. So far, I've put the poll out there. So who knows, what teams are represented there. I'm sure they'll give you some other option.
Yeah, well, that is heavy Yankees. I mean, to be expected, but I do appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, James, I will turn it over to you on the next slide here to get us going.
All right, so what we're looking to do is how do we set up the end user to be successful in parking, right? I say it all the time, but parking is an anxiety-driven experience for most people, right? 1,000 questions go through the mind of a person before they even leave their house to go and park, whether that's going to a college campus or it's going downtown. It's where can I park? How much is it going to cost me? Am I allowed to park there with my permit? Or is it even something as simple as, is it parallel parking? Like, I don't ever want to parallel park. It's terrifying to me. Like, those are the things that go through people's heads before they even leave the house. And to me, those are roadblocks to get people to go down and go to the university or go and patronize the businesses downtown. And what can we do to help ease that anxiety and limit those roadblocks before they even leave? And that's, to me, that's the important part of what we're trying to do as an industry. And in order to do that, you need to have as an administrator, you can't help the end user and put the end user in a position of success if the administrator doesn't sit there and have the ability to be successful in their job. Sean, you want to jump to the next slide? Or Matt? Sorry. So what we do at Modii is we are a digital infrastructure company and a data aggregator. And those are big words that a lot of people are using in the industry, but what does that even mean? So the first step is let's help the administrators understand exactly what's going on. My previous position before I started in Modii, I was the director of parking and transportation for a large municipality here in Connecticut. And when I first started, I was asking questions with everybody in the department, and there were no answers. How many ADA spaces do we have? No clue. Where's our signage located? No idea. Is there any rhyme or reason to our signage? What is the path to the messaging to the end user? And there was nothing. I had to go out with printouts of a Google Street View on a clipboard and walk the streets and mark where signs were and mark down and write on the back on how many spaces we had in each area, just so I could get an understanding of what was going on in the street. Because if me as an administrator, if I don't even know that information, how in the world can I set up the visitors and the customers and the consumers who want to come downtown for success? And I couldn't do it without actually going out and boots on the ground gathering this information. So I was lucky enough to get a sales pitch from the company I'm with now, Modii, and they walked out of my office, and I sat in my office for about 15 minutes after they left, and I went, holy cow, this is a game changer. This is what everybody's looking for, even if they don't know it yet. So what we do is to empower these administrators is we come and we build an entire digital set of all of your parking, no matter how detailed, all the way down to the bay level. Where is the space? What are the policies for that specific space? Is it ADA? What permits are allowed? What times are those permits allowed? When is it switched to paid? Is it a loading zone? Whatever it is, we build that, and we give the administrator now the ability to sit there and understand their entire platform and their ecosystem without leaving their desk. Do you want to know how many ADA spaces there are? Just take a quick look. Do you want to know where they're located? What these policies are? You have that all at your fingertips now. And to me, that was an absolute game changer. It would have saved me hours and hours of frustration if I had known that there was a product like this at the time. But to me, the biggest benefit now is you have the ability to see everything. So not only do we collect all of and build out digitally where all your parking is, whether that's something as simple as a loading zone or the complexities of a single bay in a campus, because we know there are a lot of rights that go into one single bay in a campus. The complexity there is massive. And then if you throw events on top of that and how that space changes over time and what's happening during that event or after the event, the system needs to be able to reflect that in real time. Otherwise, you're not really doing a good enough job of understanding what's going on. So we'll collect all of we collect all of the street signs, anything that affects the curb, fire hydrants, curb cuts, where your physical parking meters are, gate systems, multi-level garages, surface lots, and we build that out into a digital system. And we put that into our admin dashboard to give them the tools to understand exactly what's going on. Go ahead, Sean. So once we do that, now you have this digital infrastructure where you can just hop on your computer, pull up your admin dashboard, and you can see everything that exists in your entire parking ecosystem. The next step is everyone here probably has 5 to 10 vendors that they have to deal with all the time, which is a whole bunch of systems that you have to log into. There's a lot of manual labor that goes into it. When it comes to pulling reports at the end of the month to put your financials together, you've got to jump into a bunch of different systems and compile that and build your own spreadsheet. It's a bear, right? We all do it. It was part of life, but it doesn't need to be. So the other portion of what we do is we can connect to all of these different vendors. So whether you've got a gated system here, you've got a loop counter over here, you've got fixed LPR over here, or you've just got a transient lot that just deals with transactions from multiple locations, whether it's a parking meter and 4 different pay by sell companies, we can connect to all of that and build yourself now an intelligence dashboard as well to let you understand exactly what's going on in real time. And to me, that's huge, right? Because as an administrator, I can pull up that intelligence dashboard and I can get all of my occupancy from all of these vendors in real time and see exactly what's going on without even having to leave my desk. And that's nice because you don't have to log into multiple systems, but it's also nice to have that in one space, because what that allows you to do now as an administrator is it allows you to purchase the right hardware for your specific situation. You don't actually have to go like, all right, I'm already using this gate vendor. Maybe I'm just going to put these in the new locations that just opened up because it's just easier. Then I only have to deal with one vendor. It's the same, but not all locations are built the same. That new location might not be ideal for a gate. You might want to use a loop counter there, or you might want to use fixed LPR or some sort of camera monitoring system. But you feel like it's easier to just kind of go with what you know. But now you don't have to worry about that. You can pick the specific hardware, the specific vendor that is right for you and right for that specific situation, and be able to pull that into the same ecosystem. So it makes your life easier knowing you can make the right decision for you, knowing that the foundation of what you do isn't going to change because it's all comes in. Did that work?
Yep. I'll share when you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you. So that's the first part, right? Let's go through, we digitize everything. We get everything that the admin needs from their hardware providers all pulled into one unified dashboard. So now you have everything. You can see where your parking is. You can go in and change policies on the fly. You can close a garage and say, I woke up this morning and the top level of the garage, there's an issue. We have to shut it down. You can shut it down. You can build messaging around that. And it allows you to have all of this information. Now what you can do is take this and put this in the hands of all of the consumers. And this is where when I said earlier about that anxiety of parking, this is how you can help reduce that anxiety when it comes to parking. So now as an end user, I can pull up my phone and I can look at what we call our parking finder. Very super simple name. We don't dive in too deep. We just try and make it simple. And that parking finder is a web-based application. It's not an app that you have to go to the app store and download. We make the entry level as low as possible because the idea is to pull up the phone, look at it for 30 seconds. You can see where you can park. You can see how much it's going to be. It's going to answer all of those anxiety questions that I talked about in the beginning in about 30 seconds. And then you can just hit directions and it'll take you right to that spot. And you're going to know before you even leave your house if that space is available. And we do that because, like I just said, we're pulling in all of this data and information from all of your vendors. So why not take that and now give it to the end user? So it's a seamless transition, whether you're using a gated system over here or fixed LPR or whatever it is. As an end user, when I pull up the parking finder, I can see in real time what the occupancy is at that location. And I know, all right, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get there. It's already at 92%. Maybe I don't want to go there, or maybe I don't want to go to that block. Let me just go right around the corner. And I know that's exactly where I want to go. But it also allows you to filter out your anxieties. If you don't want parallel parking, uncheck the box, filter it out. It's going to disappear from the map and you're not going to see parallel parking anymore. So you don't have to worry about it. Are you looking for paid parking? Do you have a permit? And this is, to me, this is where the huge benefit is for campuses, is you don't have to have 7,000 PDFs anymore for every single one of your permits. Or because there's day permits, there's night permits, that like it's a massive plethora of permits that most campuses are selling. And getting that information to the person who has that permit is not exactly smooth usually. And this is where I think we did some awesome things with the University at Buffalo and Matt, is now as a student or a visitor, whoever I am coming to campus, I can pull up the parking finder and say, I have permit A, I'm going to be there at 2 p.m. Show me where I can park. And it's going to filter out all of the other noise. And it's going to get rid of everything that doesn't matter to you because you've told the system, this is specifically what I'm looking for. And now it's going to filter that out. You can see it. You can click take me there, and it's going to pull up your default mapping application and drive you right to that location. And to me, I just think that's a game changer. And we've actually, and you'll see at the end of this slide, you're going to see some statistics where we've actually had a couple of universities procure us through some research grants to understand the effect that the parking finder is having on both the students, the faculty, and the visitors. And it's nice to have that because now we can actually see the tangible data of how we are changing life on campus when it comes to traveling to campus, getting there, going to class. And on the customer service side of things, because everything you do in the parking finder, because it's not an app, it's a web-based application, every click, every filter, everything you set generates a unique URL. So from a customer service standpoint, if I call up and I say, hey, Matt, I've got permit A and I need to go to this building on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. and I have no idea where I can park. Matt can say, great, I got you, no problem. He can pull up the parking finder on his end, go to that building, go to the closest location, select that permit, filter everything out. So now he can see exactly where that customer needs to park. And he can just copy that link and text it to him or send it to me in an email. And all I do is click on that link and it's automatically going to open up the parking finder and it's going to show me exactly what I was looking for. And then I can just hit directions and it's going to take me right to that location. And again, that's elevating the customer experience, because imagine, I'm sure most of you understand and have done this before, trying to have that conversation over the phone with no actual visual context of telling them where to park. It's impossible. It's extremely difficult. It's easy to get frustrated. You probably feel you're being super clear, especially because you're familiar with the area. You understand what's going on. The person you're talking to probably doesn't feel the same way. There's a bit of a disconnect there. And instead, it allows you as the administrator and me as the visitor to be looking at the exact same thing and have that visual context and understand where I can go at this time because I need to get there for class or whatever it is. And I just think that's a massive, massive benefit to not just campuses, but cities as well, right? How many times they still say it, like, we know we're still not fully out of COVID, but the old habits are still ingrained in everybody where they say, I'm not going downtown. There's never anywhere to park. And businesses are begging people to come back downtown and park and patronize these businesses. And again, with this parking finder, it removes that excuse because I can pull up the parking finder and see, I've got a 30% chance of finding parking on that block. But if I go one block around the corner, I have an 80% chance of finding parking there right now. I've removed that level of anxiety already. I know exactly where I can find a space and what type of space I'm looking for. If I have a disability placard and I know I'm specifically looking for one of those spaces, I can filter out just for those spaces. And I can see exactly where those spaces are on a digital map overlaid near the restaurant I'm trying to go to. And it allows you to breathe and have that level of anxiety removed. Matt, do you want to jump in and start talking about kind of the project that we were working on together at UB?
Sure. Yeah. I think that's at a later slide. You want me to just kind of like skip ahead and we can go back?
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Sure. So this is my slide, and I'm happy to chime in here and share our experience with Modii. So what James was talking about in the very beginning of the digital inventory of our 16,000 parking spaces at the university was very much annotated by saying boots on the ground. So the work that our team did, and some of them are on the call here today, to go out and just list every single space in every single lot, in every single service area, every single nook and cranny of the university. And those of you from municipalities and universities know what I'm talking about with those deep, dark corners. We literally, down to every single bay, listed who was able to park there for the duration, if it costs money, if it has to have a special permit. And that was pretty painstaking. James, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was probably a couple months worth of meetings every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it certainly was. There's
Yeah,
just so much nuance in the campus that it's important to make sure that you get it right. Because at the end of the day, you're putting it in the hands of the consumers. And if it's wrong, then you're going to hear about it.
Correct. Yeah. And we drilled down as far as we possibly could into all of our spaces, into all of our bays, even the ones that really no one ever uses, in the far periphery. We still detailed out exactly who could park there, which was great, because it was a great opportunity for all of our team to get out there and become familiar with all of those spaces once again, even the places that they don't normally patrol or enforce. And it was great for us, and it was great for the program. The dashboard piece, so accessing all of our university parking and transportation information in a single interface. While I can tell you that we are like a few days removed from an official launch and promotion of this tool, we are working towards this unified dashboard. So to step out and zoom out a little bit, we also have a new transit partner with some new transportation technology coming on board in terms of like a transportation tracker, GPS tracking of vehicles. And once that is fully off the ground and operational without any kind of errors or hardware issues, we're going to sync that with this dashboard for it to become really like a smart piece of technology where someone can go and get parking and transportation information in one place. And I'm very much looking forward to that, because it's not really something that I've seen at other institutions. So to kind of be a first, or to be an innovator with our partner Modii is really exciting. And I think, when we talk about parking and transportation in this industry, first mile, last mile, to be able to park your car in a lot where that there's parking because of the Modii tool, and see that there's a bus route connected to it, and grab the schedule from the same piece of technology with as minimal clicks or changes to apps or mobile web platforms or pages, is going to be really, really innovative. And I'm really looking forward to that. The personalized parking experience is something that I really wanted to drill down to for this presentation, because I think, when you think about this tool, we as the administrators of a parking department at an institution or within a municipality, we are very intimate with the parking operation. We know the spaces, we know where there's availability, but our folks, say on the academic side of the house, they might not be, right? And this tool is not going to be for your 30-year employee who parks in the same space in the same lot every single morning at 7 a.m. This tool is going to be more advantageous for your folks that are working in a hybrid environment, right? That don't come to campus all the time, but come to campus for different occasions, different meetings. Or I think the best use case, the best experience of a user will have with this tool on our campus is for when groups are planning events, right? So I can't see everyone in the crowd, but I would definitely do a raise your hand type of experiment where everyone that works at a college or university has their colleagues that plan, a 300-person event and want to have all of their people park in the busiest lots on campus. We've all been through that experience. Using this tool, we know, right, and we've programmed where space is available and where it is not available. And being able to share the link to this with predictive parking technology throughout different points of the day is going to help us all plan for a better experience for the parking user, right? So when they're planning, during the time of day that their event starts, when they can expect people to show up, they can tell them exactly where there's going to be space. They don't even have to consult with us. There's a tool that they can save to their browser that's going to show that. And this is going to work for, the event side of the thing, the event side of the operation, but it's also going to work when people have guests and visitors coming as well. Because when they share the link to where they think available parking is, there's a pass-through for an option to get directions, which will go right to your native directions app, like your Maps app or Waze or what have you. And it's going to provide for a seamless experience for that person. Our university it's expansive. It's like a small city. And folks often get lost, right? So we handle a lot of phone calls of, hey, I'm here for this, that, or whatever, and I'm driving around campus. I have no idea where I am. This is where I'm trying to go. And so we handle a lot of that, wayfinding type experience. This is going to kind of like circumnavigate that, right? This is going to help people get to where they're going and provide a better experience. So that's kind of like an unintended consequence of this whole thing. I'm actually pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, I think if I can just jump in real quick, Matt,
Sure.
on the events side, especially for campuses, events are massive, right? And there's the level of complexity that goes into planning for an event is astounding. It's something that I've learned since I've been at Modii. It's kind of mind-blowing. And to be able to sit down and just plan for that event is a massive time suck for everybody that works on that campus, because it's not just parking that's involved in planning these events, right? There's 8 other departments. I mean, sanitation, like it doesn't matter. Everybody has to be involved to understand what's going on. So now you have a platform where you can all get into the same conference room, pull up your admin dashboard, look at those specific lots or areas that are going to be affected by this event, and now plan and make those changes down to the individual bay level. I mean, we have at campus, you can go and say, okay, this bay, we got a football game, and in this lot, this entire row is going to be blocked off for media. You can change that and build that immediately, and it's going to reflect in the parking finder during that event. You can go down, now you can go to the individual bay level and say, okay, this bay is for parking, the bay right next to it's for tailgating, and then parking and tailgating and parking and tailgating. So you can actually tell everybody before they even leave their house where you can park, what it's going to look like, and how that event is going to be planned and how it's going to act once you get there. And I just think it's such a simplified process. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, it's great. It's great insight. And feel free to jump in whenever you'd like. So another thing that I wanted to say about the personalized experience too, and I'm glad that James says this earlier in his talk, was that because it is not an app and it is a mobile, or it's a web platform that can be used in a mobile device, and there is no barrier to entry. I think that's fantastic for visitors, not having to download an app to have this singular or, a couple times a year experience. But it also enabled us to embed this in our UB mobile app. So this UB mobile app has like literally everything in it: library, commissary information, of course, certainly our transportation information, and now parking. So what was formerly our transport, icon in the UB mobile app is now parking and transport. And within it, you click to that, and then you click to the next feature, which is the parking finder. And it just takes you right over to your native web browser, and you kind of go through the experience of using the tool right through there. So it's very seamless. And it just works so well. I'm very happy with the way that it turned out. And again, just having launched this product, we're getting some pretty good feedback based on the initial use. So again, a great personalized parking experience. And James, I wanted to tap in to your thoughts real quick on real-time communication. So I know that you all have different ways that you can go about accomplishing, like real-time occupancy versus predictive. And I just want to let everyone know that, so we don't have pucks and sensors and things like that. We are not distributing information on real-time occupancy. We initially thought that we were going to use LPR data to feed this predictive parking. We found that the LPR route was a little challenging because it wasn't always 100% accurate. And I think we all know, or most of us know, that in order to gather that lot occupancy, the LPR has to run through the lot perfectly. Otherwise, you can have skewed information. And what I mean by that is it could be, under occupancy, or it can even demonstrate over 100% occupancy, which would be kind of classified as bad data. If you happen to read the same row twice or something like that, the number of reads could be greater than the space count, right? So we pivoted away from lot count via LPR, and we've had historical lot counts in our possession and do them several times a semester, every year. And we use that information to program predictive lot counts, or lot occupancy rather. So at different times of the day, the lots will show either parking is available, it's filling up, or it's mostly full, right? And we want to steer people away from mostly full lots and direct them to lots that are filling up or where parking is available. And again, James, I'll pass it to you so you can talk about some of the other solutions that you have for real-time communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Matt. So before I dive into that, there's what Matt just said, there's a huge benefit that we're seeing, especially from our campus customers with that, because now you're actually seeing the distribution of parking change. Like there are everyone probably has some lots that nobody ever uses and nobody parks there because everybody wants to they park there one time close to the front door, and then they always go to the same place and try and wedge their way in there and fight and try and find a spot that's probably not even there. With this tool, it's showing them right up in their face, do not go to that lot. It ain't worth it. So what we're seeing is the actual distribution of parking is changing, and people are using those underutilized lots a whole lot more than they used to, which now as an administrator, I can analyze that data on our intelligence dashboard and go, okay, now it's time to make some adjustments to my permitting. Let me sell some more A permits over in that lot because the distribution is moving in that direction. So I can not only can I sell permits in that lot, I can oversell those permits to make sure that I'm covering the basis for how many people can park in there, and I'm seeing an increase in revenue in that situation. So there's tons of benefits to just saying, don't come here and park, it's full, go here and here. And it really is that simple, but there's never been a tool to allow someone to understand that information in the palm of their hand. So when it comes to providing that type of information on occupancy and availability to the end user, there are tons and tons of ways you can do that. And we'll do that by pulling, the easiest way is pulling the information and the data directly from the hardware if you have hardware in that location. So whether that's, again, loop counters, gates, LPR cameras, camera mounted up on the pole to see what's going on, it doesn't matter. We can ingest it, put it on that dashboard, and the end user doesn't know the difference. It doesn't matter where the data is coming from. They don't care about that. They just care about what the data is telling them. So it doesn't matter the hardware. It's a seamless transition. That's the easiest way. The not easiest way is what we did with Matt and UV. So it was manual counts, but it was very, very detailed and in-depth manual counts. But shout out to Matt's team, because without their deep dive into that, we would have never been able to do this. But the information that Matt gave us, we were able to go through and be like, okay, here's manual counts for this hour of this day of the week, for this hour of the week. And we were able to take that and put that into our AI machine learning and let it process and understand what that looks like, and then put that into the parking finder. So now, while it's not technically real-time information, it is a level of availability based on historical data. And that is, excuse me, I think a huge game changer, because Matt has 7,000 parking lots on his campus. It's ridiculous. And for him to have to go through and put hardware in every single one of those lots is a non-starter. Nobody has the funding for that. It's crazy. So you can get the benefits of, you can get most of the benefits of the hardware to the end user without actually getting that hardware, by having to pay for that hardware. And that's huge. The other route that we have attempted to go down, and this is, I'll spend 2 hours talking on mobile LPR data if you guys want. I've said, Matt shaking his head. So for one of our customers that we're currently onboarding, they are begging us to use mobile LPR data, historical mobile LPR data, to then do what Matt's doing and embed that statically to show the chances of finding availability based on that day and time. And I was like, look, I'll try, but there's no guarantees because mobile LPR data is just not good for this situation. And here's the example. For this customer, I took one lot. I took 365 days worth of their mobile LPR data for this one lot. And I broke it out over 7 days and then every single hour of the day of the week. Their enforcement starts at 8 a.m. I did, in 365 days worth of mobile LPR data, I did not have one single data ping in this lot before 11 a.m. In 365 days, the mobile enforcement vehicle did not go through that lot one time before 11 a.m. So how can we accurately give a prediction based on that data if there is no data? And that's where it gets a slippery slope when you're trying to use mobile LPR data. It's fun. I like digging into that puzzle and diving in and analyzing the data to understand what's going on, but you can't put that, if you are going to offer that level of interaction and tell them where the chances are of finding parking, you got to be accurate, because the second you're not, you're making everybody furious. And now everyone hates us anyway because we hide in the bushes and we write citations 30 seconds after your meter expires, and most people don't enjoy what we do anyway. So the second you're providing them with a piece of information that ends up being incorrect, they're picking up the phone, and that is defeating the purpose of what we're trying to do here. So making sure that you're using the data properly and understanding what the data is showing you is the first step to making sure that you're providing that accurate information to the end user. And that, to me, that's the difference between trying to use mobile LPR data or doing what Matt did and actually going through and doing the manual counts and doing that hard work over a course of time, which then allows us to do a predictive analysis and build that into the parking finder.
Yeah, and that's a really great point, James. And I think, you know, a caveat to this whole thing is that it's going to need some tweaks over time, right? So we know we've got historical lot counts from years, right? So we probably use like 5 years worth of data, compiled it into some averages, and fed that to this platform. And while we know it's good because it's an average, it's not always perfect. There's going to be some, you know, some differences. You know, there might be some kind of event that's not on our radar that's filling a lot, or their traffic just might be light that day for whatever reason. So there's going to be some variances, right? And that's just kind of the reality of things. It's always not going to be the same, and that's fine. And we know that over time we're going to need to tweak this. James and the Modii team, we've agreed to visit this quarterly, and if there's something that needs to be adjusted, then we can adjust, right? And it's a very flexible tool that way, and I'm glad for that, right? It's not just locked in forever. It's flexible. But I wanted to speak on one thing real quick, and especially about real-time communication. So while we're not projecting lot occupancy real time, something that we are working towards in the very near future is the event module within the parking finder. And that is going to be the real-time communication that we're talking about. So if there is a football game or a basketball game, or, you know, one of those large, regularly scheduled in advance events, commencement, for example, something like that, we can program that to say that these lots are offline on these days at these times. In addition, for those things that kind of come up spur of the moment, like elected official visits or grand opening of buildings, some things that we've experienced in the very recent past, you know, for the need to turn off lots, we can do that through this module and communicate that out to folks, right? And link to it so they can click on, you know, the reason being and what's offline. We can even provide guidance to the next available lot through the tool, which is, you know, it has a lot of value. So excited about that real-time communication piece. I wanted to touch on these last 2 points as well, real quick. So the data that we're using and to communicate is super valuable, right? And to be the keeper of it is one thing, but to share it is another. And that's a great position to be in with this tool. So speaking to no end about, Modi's ability to use data to deliver information to people, I encourage everyone to kind of approach them and see what you can do to accomplish that. And I also wanted to touch on stakeholder transparency. So as we just launched this tool, I'm sure that there's going to be lots of people around the university that want to use it to communicate with their guests, their visitors, their interview candidates, and so on and so forth. And they'll probably have some feedback for us. And, my position is that we're here to welcome it, right? So we want people to use the tool as much as possible, and we want it to work for them. So I'm excited about the time when admissions will come to us and say, hey, we've got 30 people coming this week and they all need directions. Can we send the link? And I'll say, absolutely, please do. And I'm hopeful that in our partnership with Modii, we might be able to build on that, right? And build out like an admissions feature that has some preset, not only driving directions or like pathway to driving directions, but maybe some walking directions. Once you get to your lot, this is where you go. Walk to this building, walk through this door, take a left. There's the admissions office, right? Something like that. So again, something I'm really excited for as far as stakeholders.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Matt. And it can be something as simple as the chancellor calls you today and says, I've got 5 people coming to visit me tomorrow. You can jump in your admin dashboard. You can go to the lot nearest wherever the chancellor's office is, and you can take the 5 normally permit spaces that are there, and you can take those 5 spaces and change that policy and say that is for chancellor parking only. And then you can push that out in real time. That honestly takes about 2 minutes. And then that's updated in the parking finder in real time. And then you can take that link and you can give it to the chancellor, and the chancellor can give it to their visitors, and they're going to know exactly where their reserved spot is and exactly where to go tomorrow. And it's just a simple, easy process. And it allows you to have that flexibility to get that messaging out there rather than talk to them on the phone. Well, go over here, you're going to pass the first 2 lots, the 3rd lot, you're going to take a left, and then that's just a pain. Matt, if you wanted to jump back to the previous slide, I'll run through that real quick.
Sure.
So this really goes back to what Matt was just saying about, first mile, last mile, right? Because it's not just about parking. There's so much more that goes into it. We call it the parking finder, but this really is evolving into a transportation hub. So we can put points of interest on the map on where your micromobility hubs are. So if you've got e-bikes or things like that, we can show you where the hubs are, but we can also connect directly to their systems to show you in real time how many bikes are available. So you don't even have to waste your time if oh, there's no bikes over there. I'm just going to go to this one over here. Same thing with EV chargers. We can plug directly into that. We can show you where the EV charging spaces are. And then you can actually see in real time if that charger's in use or not. So if I know I need to charge my vehicle and those 2 chargers in that lot are in use, no chance. I'm not even going to go to that lot. I'm going to go to the one over here that I know is available. And Matt talked about his shuttle system, and we're working to pull that into the system now. So not only can you see where the shuttle stops are, you can see the shuttles in real time. You can click on that POI. It'll tell you how long before the next shuttle gets there. There's just, I ask our customers all the time to push us, right? Because that's how we learn and that's how we grow in the industry and how we get better. I don't want to sit here and tell you this is how you should do it, because that's crazy. That every campus is different. Every city is different. Every person we talk to has different pain points that we need to alleviate. And it's an uncomfortable position for me to tell you how to alleviate your pain points. You tell me what those pain points are and how you want to alleviate them, and we'll come with examples on what we've done across the country, and we'll work together to actually build that in. Because it really is it's about you guys. It's not about us. Modii pays my bills, don't get me wrong, but I don't care about Modii, because we're not successful if you guys are not successful. So if we don't sit here and listen to that feedback and get that in real time and talk about things quarterly and understand how things are changing and evolving, then it's just not going to work. So this is when I tell you to push us, this is just a list of a random list that I put together of some of the things that we can integrate with. But again, think outside the box and push and talk, because you have all of these systems, you have all of this data, and it's just sitting there doing nothing most of the time. So why not be able to take that and put it in the hands and give the end users the power to understand what's going on in that system holistically, to again remove that level of anxiety.
I'll jump in real quick, and while I don't work for Modii, I'll give you guys a little bit of a bump here. That it's been an interesting experience because I've worked with a lot of tech in this industry, and sometimes when you're working with a vendor, sometimes it's a hard no, right? But with Modii, it's never been no. It's always been a let's take it back to dev and see what we can work out. And if it's not something they're currently doing, they're going to find out a way to do it because, like they said, they like to push themselves, and if it's something they didn't think about before. They'll figure out a way, and I'm just very thankful for that. And where I thought we could have come across a no in the past, we pushed through that barrier and we made it. So happy to be at the current place that we're in because of their hard work.
That's the fun part. That's the puzzle. Like without the puzzle, that's boring. I love that challenge, and I love understanding what your pain points are and how we can just power through those things. Can we jump to, I think we're getting close to time here, and I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. Can we, I think what do we have till 2:10? Let's go to the final slide, if you don't mind.
You want to play the video?
No, that's all right. If anybody wants to have a demo or something, we could.
Actually, you have to 2:15, and you want to leave room for Q&A, and this is robust, so I think you might have some questions for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just jump to that last slide with the OSU and UTA data.
Sure. Yeah. So James, before you jump into that one, on the poll that was done, 100% of people that responded to the last question, they all said they heard the can't find parking anywhere.
Shocking. I kind of felt like we were going to end up with 100% there, so that is not surprising at all. So why not remove that? That's at the very, very base crux level of what we do. That's the question we answer before you even leave the house. In 30 seconds, I pull it up, I look at the parking finder, I go, cool, I know I can park there. Give me directions, and it is just going to take me there. And the nice part is, I forgot to mention this, we integrate with pay-by-cell providers as well. So when you get there, now from the parking finder, you can click make a transaction, and it's going to throw you directly to your pay-by-cell provider, and it's going to pre-populate the zone information. So you don't have to, the end user doesn't have to worry about finding the sign or fat fingering the zone information and making a mistake. It's going to make that seamless transition. And before you guys ask, we take absolutely positively no cuts of transactions whatsoever. All we do is we either enhance the products we're attached to, or we drive traffic to those other products. And that's, again, it's not about us, it's about the end user. So I did mention earlier that we've had a customer procure us with a research grant, and that's the University of Texas at Arlington. And they have found that after using our products for over a year, so the white pages are they're still working on them to be released, and I can't wait because the nerd in me is going to really like going through and reading all of that. But they're seeing a 60% reduction in parking citations issued for mistakes, which is I have a permit and I've parked in the wrong lot, or I didn't realize this was a pay lot, I didn't make a transaction. So you're seeing a reduction in those citations, which is good news, right? You're not punishing people for making those mistakes anymore because it's clear on where they're allowed to park and where they're supposed to park. But what they're also seeing that I found interesting is a 40% increase in transient revenue, because people, one, now they know that there is paid parking, and two, they know they're supposed to pay. And so because those mistakes are being filtered out, they understand the rules, they understand what they're supposed to do, and they can just jump to making that transaction right from the parking finder that they're already in. So they're seeing an increase in that. And the last thing that they're seeing an increase in, we don't have the numbers on it yet. They put sensors all around to analyze emissions. And while we don't have the number that we can speak to yet, because they have not finalized it, they're seeing a massive reduction in emissions on campus. And that's strictly from people not circling. They just know where to go. They know where parking is available. So they're not just going around trying to fight and find a spot. They're just going to that spot. And or they're using micromobility because they've got tons of micromobility on campus at UTA, and they're able to use that directly from the parking finder when they may not have known that there was a bike share on the corner of that lot, but now they know it's there. And then we talked about it earlier about, so OSU uses our system on swivel screens in their customer service room. So when you come in, they can show you the parking finder. You say, I got this permit, I'm looking where to park. They just set the filter, they change it, they can see exactly where to park. They can give them that unique URL to see exactly where to park. And it's reduced. I mean, they've got a 38% reduction in call time. That right there is huge. 38%. That's a massive number especially for a campus that has, what was it, 35,000 parking spaces. That's a city. That's ridiculous. So like, it just, to me, this is just proves that I'm happy to know that we are providing value to these people. And that's just what gets me up in the morning at the end of the day. So again, look, all right, I can sit here and talk for 45 more minutes if we need to, but let's open it up to Q&A. I'm curious to hear some questions or some feedback or what you guys have.
First of all, what a great presentation. I'm also excited about your technology, so thank you. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Questions, just raise hands. Let's get to our attendees first, and then we'll get to our panelists. I have Jason Jones. God, I missed that man up north. We're going to see you in the spring, Jason, whether you like it or not. We're coming up there. Let me get Jason in. I'd like to see him, actually. Jason, where are you? Jason. Anybody see him on attendee list? Trying to get you in there, Jay.
He was there earlier, but I think he's hiding right now.
While
Oh,
we're
cute.
waiting for Jason, I'll just say that, while we just like officially launched this product at the university, I'm very much looking forward to sharing some data and statistics like this at a follow-up opportunity with Modii, potentially spring 2025, which if I understand correctly, we're looking to visit Albany.
Yes, we are. We are visiting Albany. Here comes Jason. Yeah, you guys that are on, we're going to be to the Albany Parking Authority, possibly. So there's a little sneak preview, working out the details. So we'll be there for sure. In person. Here comes Jason, if he's not on already, guys.
Jason,
You're muted, Jason.
Thank you. I got my audio off and now the video.
You're looking good. Previous
We're good.
president,
We're good.
everybody,
We're good.
previous president of this organization. Welcome, Jason.
Yes, in a former life. Yes. Hi, good to see everybody. Great presentation, really informative. Just a couple quick questions. I don't think anything major. When you talk about the parking finder, is that an exclusive standalone? So if I'm leaving from my residence at home, can I type in the parking finder and it'll give me directions to the parking lot, like similar to like an Apple CarPlay? Or is it two exclusive systems where I would have to have maybe like a CarPlay on one and I'm looking at the parking finder app like through my phone or something?
So right now there is no connection to like Apple CarPlay or anything like that. So you would use your phone. But we don't want you to use the parking finder while you're traveling. So the point is you pull up the parking finder, you take a quick look, you're like, okay, awesome. I know I can park in that lot. I click that lot and I hit get directions. And then it'll pull up my default mapping application, whether that's Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever it is. And then that will connect directly to your CarPlay.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So that will take you to your location.
Yeah.
Yep, James, if I can cut, yeah, exactly. So whenever you pull up that map will automatically go into your CarPlay, and then it'll do go through from there. So.
My second question was quickly, you talked about combining everything. So when we talk about the dashboard, would that be something where we would see T2, Barnacle, Flowbird? Is that what I'm getting at? Like all those apps can be, or all those programs can be under one umbrella?
You're absolutely right, Jason. So we can pull in, again, if we're touching it and they allow us to pull in that data, we'll pull it in. And we'll also pull in as much historical data as we can grab too. So now you can go on your intelligence dashboard and you can, if you've got Flowbird and 3 pay-by-sell companies in that lot, you can compare all of that in one dashboard and see them overlaid on top of each other and go, okay, well, if 98% of everyone is using pay by cell in that lot, maybe the monthly costs to run that meter in that lot isn't worth it. So now you actually have that data to make those decisions. Like the upkeep and the maintenance of those meters, maybe it's not worth it for you in that area. Maybe you can take that meter and put it somewhere else where it's going to be more useful. But yes, you're absolutely right. And we have I talked earlier about the reporting because we're pulling everything in. And I talked about how, everyone has to go into the 18 different systems and compile their own spreadsheet to use monthly. If we're attached to that system and we're pulling in the data, give me a copy of that spreadsheet and I will build it into our system. So now all you have to do is come in and say, I want my monthly report, click the export button, and it gives you that monthly report with all of the financials from your gates, from your pay by cell, from your meters, whatever it is. If we're connected to it, we can process that information and give it to you in the exact way you need it.
Okay, we have a
Jason?
question on the Q&A. Do you all see that, or I can read it? It's very short from Malik. Do you guys integrate with mobile parking enforcement bikes? Do you guys integrate with mobile parking enforcement bikes? I believe that is for this session because it came in at 2:02 p.m.
I think I need a little more. The easy answer is yes. If there's an API available and we can connect to it, absolutely. I need a little more detail on specifically what you're doing with these bikes. But if it's a bike share, we can connect to that and tell you how many bikes are available at the docking stations. If you're talking mobile LPR, we can absolutely ingest mobile LPR data, and we can. This is something I do recommend people do, but it's only on the admin dashboard. Let us pull in the mobile LPR data, and we can tell you how many pings you've had in that lot or in that garage or on that curb. So it will give you the information so you can understand kind of what's going on, but I certainly don't recommend using that information to provide occupancy to the end user.
Okay, if
I would
that
love to
didn't
have a
answer.
session on what is it? Mobile enforcement bikes?
Mhm.
That's something I would like to learn about.
Yeah, that's a new one for me. I agree.
Good one. Attendees, if you have questions, please continue. We have a few more minutes, and actually,
There's a couple in the chat. It looks like.
all right, you guys can look down at the chat if you'd like, or I
All
can
right,
read it.
so when changing specialty designations on bays, how long would it take to update that information on the digital map? Seconds. And that's not an exaggeration. So if you have the policy already built, you've got your list of policies in your admin dashboard, and you just assign it to that space and click publish. And then once that's done publishing in the 5 seconds, 10 seconds it takes to process, it's automatically pushed into the parking finder in real time. It's the same thing with messaging. If you get a call from DOT and they're like, a water main broke and nobody can ever go into that area, you can immediately put a message out on the parking finder that says, hey, if you're going in this area, water main's broken, don't go in there. If you need to park, here are the two or three closest locations to send you to. And that's, if I pull up the parking finder, that message is going to be right in my face and I can see it in real time. And you can schedule those messages. You can put them up and take them down at will. You have full flexibility there.
Great stuff, James. You have one more question in chat. You have 3 minutes to answer it.
All right. If you preload the data to have the predictive parking data, how would it potentially get updated in the future? For example, if a lot was coming offline and the cars would need to go to other lots and those lots fill sooner and we see different trends. So our system, and this kind of goes back to what Kevin and Will were talking about in the previous demonstration about AI. So on our intelligence dashboard, we have our AI built in directly to that intelligence dashboard. So you can click the button and ask to analyze with AI, and our system is going to spit out a whole list of peaks and valleys and trends that it's noticed and give you recommendations. And we're actually trying to get to the point where you can ask it a question. And this kind of goes to this, where you can say, I need to enhance or raise the amount of parking in this lot because it's underutilized. What do you recommend? And our system is going to understand not just the question about the lot you're asking, but there's a direct connection to what happens around it in those other lots. So it's going to understand that entire ecosystem and say, all right, these 3 or 4 lots are always full. This one's empty. Here's what I recommend for you to be able to increase occupancy in this lot. or decrease occupancy or increase revenue? Or like you can ask it those questions and it's going to be able to help guide you and give you those answers and develop those reports and responses for you. And that happens in your own vacuum. With our customers, with AI, it's your data, it's your warehouse, and you own it. So it's not like it's not connected to other systems, so you don't have to worry about cross-contamination or anybody else seeing your data. It's just yours.
Excellent. Thank you. Matt, I'll let you ride this out. We have 1 minute.
Yeah, just thanks again to everyone for letting us, have a moment of your time here today. This is such a great project to be a part of. Getting to know these guys over the past year or so and working with them. It's been a great experience for me. Learned a lot. Great new technology. I hope you all, if anyone has, an inquiry, just reach out to Modii, talk to Sean, talk to James. They're great guys, super knowledgeable, really well developed in the parking industry.
Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. Honestly, it's been a delight working with you as well, and you've helped us shape our product in so many different ways already that these are how these partnerships pay off. This is how cool things happen. So I couldn't appreciate it more.
Thanks, guys. Excellent presentation. To our attendees, we'll be back in 5 minutes with a name you all know, Laz Parking. Stand by. Thank you.